So in the last video, we discussed how to breathe in and how to push out with our abs in order to create support in the sound. And that brings up the concept of breath and support, support being how you're pushing the sound, breath being the actual air that's used in the sound. And I think it's important to distinguish between these two concepts. The image of a garden hose is probably the best way to describe this. So we have a garden hose, right? And we turn on the water to go water our plants. And the water's going to be staying the same the whole time. The actual speed that the water's coming through the hose, that's the same the entire time. However, we can change how it's actually coming out of the hose by just changing the end of the valve, by either attaching a nozzle that sprays the water or by covering the hole with our thumb and just letting a little bit of water through. But the important thing is that the pressure of the water is staying the same. And I think it's a really great image to use when we talk about breath on the clarinet, because you want to have the same amount of support pretty much all the time, but you're going to just change how much air is going through the instrument. So the support really is from the core. You're really pushing to keep the air always supported. Another great image is, if you have like a big tire full of air and you just poke a tiny little nail into the tire, you still have that tank of support, but just a little bit of air is coming out. That should be how it feels to play the clarinet. You should always kind of be pushing with your core and just letting a little bit of air through the instrument. Now, this is a really important concept with starting notes on the instrument. It's easy to kind of ease into the clarinet, so sort of start our breath. This is a tooth guard, by the way. Protects your lip from getting cut. So you can start, if you start without control and you start without support, you kind of ease into the breath and you get a really weak start like this. I started supporting after I started the note. But the best way to have control over your starts is to always be supporting before you start the air. So I think a really great way of practicing this is to breathe in through your nose, like we did in the previous video, and then lift your legs off the ground so you're doing a sit-up. So basically, I'm lifting my legs off the ground, and then I'm just going to play just with my breath and double lip. I'm just doing a few just gentle air attacks. And by practicing this double lip and with no articulation, just with a breath attack, I'm able to really isolate and find, how exactly my air is starting the note. Then you can add an articulation in there. And you get a much rounder sound by making sure that you're starting with the support. And the same thing goes for releases. You have to go into the support rather than just drop your air at the end of the phrase. It's very easy to just let go of your air. But if I'm still spinning the air at the end of the phrase, I'm still diminuendoing, however, I'm keeping that support pressure, just sending less air through the instrument. That's the basics of starting notes and tapering notes.